everybody! So this past weekend I was an artist in Artist Alley at the Calgary Comic and Entertainment Expo 2016. And I have seen a ton of people do a lot of videos being a visitor, but definitely not an artist or exhibitor from the other side of the coin. So I figured I would make a video for everybody to see what's all involved with setup and with what goes on behind the booth when we're all walking through the aisles watching the artists do their work. So we start out here going on to the Stampede grounds, and all the trees are starting to bloom and it's really quiet. It's really weird when it's very quiet down there because all the times I've ever been down it is packed. And even later on there are going to be so many people there. The attendance this year was over 100,000. I think it was something like 103,000 people showed up over the whole weekend. And all the cars are parked and everything is everywhere and it is absolute chaos. And you see all these different license plates from all over the continent. And this is what Artist Alley looks like before everyone's in there. All the tables were empty, there were no names or numbers on any of them, and we were really lost. It was great though, we got help. And we finally found our table with the help of a very nice volunteer. And checking out all of the emptiness, and the only time it will be quiet for the entire weekend. And my setup I bought from Canadian Tire. And here we are, we're just wandering around, checking out all the other exhibitors setting up. It's always really strange seeing everything before it begins. The energy is always really great though. I'm so excited! All the Funko Pops before they get set out on the things. Big, heavy boxes full of them. You can see the pallets over there to the right. And that is one of the most expensive booths that I have ever seen. The square footage costs for everything is just crazy. The big booths are so expensive to buy. So expensive. And the comics before they're put out, and when they just get brought in boxes, they smell all musty, but then they air out during the rest of the weekend, thankfully. And everything's just kind of piled everywhere. And you have to be very, very careful when walking because there's always strange things being carried. But thankfully Cowboy Hat Man had a little flag on the end of the medal. And so when I'm doing my art and commissions, I always tend to have it on my lap. And I bring all of my paint water with me in a little Tupperware container and try and simplify as much as possible. I like to do work for people when I'm at the Comic Expo because they're always much more thankful when I do it quickly. And the view from behind my booth is not nearly as nice as what you guys get in the aisles. See, you're always out here, and I get to peek out for 4 days, watching. And after the expo, we wait for our ride, and everybody leaves to go back to their homes, and most people to their hotels. The traffic wasn't too bad at this point, but it got pretty bad later, and I am so tired. And the next day, I am wandering around before it opens to the public, and it's just the exhibitors checking each other out and stretching their legs first. So everything's been set up, and it looks a lot less empty than it did before. And my friends came and joined me. They were in Borg cosplay, and they were so cool. They won the Parade of Wonders and got selfies with the mayor, and they got a whole bunch of really cool swag. Selfie! And I'm leaving the building to go for a bit of a walk. It was starting to get really packed and I got a little stressed out. And everybody's outside, and it's a little bit cloudy and windy on this particular day, but not too horrible. And this is in the other building, the Big Four, and it was packed with people. You could barely move, but there was lots of interesting booths and stuff to see there. And I went back outside because it was too busy, and I got a good look at all the different cosplay, and the fresh air was really helpful. And then there was a giant Viking setup, and they had a wood-burning fire, and everything was authentic, and furs, and it was really, really cool to look at. And just wandering around again, seeing what everybody has and their wares. It's always fun to talk to the different exhibitors and see how they're doing, and ask them if they need anything especially, because you have to have water. Having water is so important. It is really dry in there, and it can get super hot. I can't imagine how hard it was to set up all those. And then I bought myself a blind box, and I was really, really, really excited, and I decided to film myself opening it. Slightly overpriced, but definitely worth it. And I decided to rip it from the wrong end, and there I realize. And we open it, and we find a little yellow owl and a hot pink guy with little glowing ears. I loved it. I was so happy. And then my piece got in the art book being sold for charity for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and it got auctioned off. There it is. You can see it being held up by the nice volunteer lady. And the man in gray there with the short hair is the one who bid, and it was $50. And so that was most of my experience. I forgot my camera on Saturday, but I was so busy that I wouldn't have had time to take much video or footage. I enjoyed meeting a lot of you, and I enjoyed meeting a lot of my fans of my work, and mostly I just really liked being in such a positive, safe kind of atmosphere. Security was great, the volunteers were great, everybody was so nice, and it was just a great time overall. So hopefully I will see you all next year, and my next show will be at OdaFest, which will be downtown Anime Festival, and that is in July, so maybe I'll see you guys there. Alright, bye.